Hi everybody, welcome back to Hearing Things with Julie and Brad. Today we are going to talk about music and what it means to us and how we enjoy it, some pitfalls that we might bump into while enjoying music, and we will also at the end of the episode, instead of books today, we're going to recommend albums that are important to us. And it was really hard for me to narrow it down to one, but I think I have it.
You got it?
I got it.
Okay.
I think so. We'll see. So I'm just going to start with professing my love for Frank Sinatra. He was really the first artist whose music I just tapped into so emotionally and so deeply as a kid. And I have so many memories attached to that with my grandparents listening to Sinatra, and it's what I grew up with, and it was the resonance of his voice and just him in general, and he's just so cool. And I've loved him for all of my life, and I just adore Frank Sinatra, and that's my go-to music mostly. All of his songs have special memories attached to them. And he's just amazing. But I do listen to other genres of music. My iTunes is a whole mishmash of everything you can come up with across musical history, but Frank is my guy, but I do listen to other stuff. So I just needed to make the point for my friend Jimmy out there who's going to be watching and is going to make sure that I'm talking about Sinatra before I talk about anybody else. So Jimmy, that one was for you. What about you? Who's your go-to? I know you listen to a lot of things, but you're one. But it's not going to be the same as my album recommendation.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to kind of lead off and give Frank a shout out. What about you?
So it changes over time, and I think that right now I'm in a big Shamikia Copeland. She just released a new album. That's probably why it's my go-to. Because I don't know about you, but when a new album comes out for an artist I like, I listen to that constantly for like weeks. So like I've been listening to hers for like I think it came out last week, and I think it's just constantly playing now. I do a lot of blues. I think I've said before. So I do a lot of blues. I also do a lot of like hair metal and stuff like that. And that's definitely my brother coming through because it's just like the influences is there. When I exercise, I'm always listening to like Metallica or Megadeth or Rage Against the Machine, so I can get angry. But they actually have done studies where like the higher the beat, the higher the tempo, the better it is for a workout.
Really?
Because you're moving in tempo to
even if you're unconsciously
rhythm.
You don't even
because you're listening to it, and so if you're lifting or running or jogging or biking or whatever, they usually do recommend high tempo music because you subconsciously match your movements to the beat.
Huh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's
I
cool.
didn't know that.
So I'm all over the place as well.
Yeah,
too.
same.
Yeah.
So I just had to start with Frank, and that was it. Then we'll move from there. I love music. I have music on constantly, whether it's streaming through my Bluetooth or on in the house. It's just my first go-to for any kind of mood I'm in. I work to music. I bike to music. I clean the dishes to music. I had Sharon earlier cleaning the kitchen this afternoon. I can't live without it. But there are pitfalls that come with enjoying music with a hearing loss. Yeah. And one of the big ones that I recall growing up, and even now as an adult, but definitely before the internet, was understanding the lyrics to songs. Yeah. Because when I started purchasing my own music, it was around the time that cassette tapes were really becoming the norm, right? I remember buying my Born in the USA Bruce Springsteen cassette tape in like 1985 at Strawberries at the Arsenal Mall in Watertown with my own money. I still have it. And I still love Bruce Springsteen, lifelong lover of Bruce. But that was one of the first times I realized I don't understand the words. Nobody understands the words to Bruce on a good day.
That's true.
But really, as a kid with a hearing loss, not having the liner notes that you would have on albums, they didn't exist in cassettes consistently, so I did not have those lyric backups. And even now, when I listen to music, whether familiar or new music, I have to Google the lyrics and follow along a good couple of times to enhance my enjoyment of the song.
Absolutely.
So that's one of the pitfalls that I've run into. What about you?
Oh, yeah, same thing. It's definitely... So that's why I have a Spotify subscription, and they have lyrics for most of their songs, and so I'll use it. And it's frustrating to not be able to understand the lyrics, and I say, like, recording quality. So there's two different issues I have with recording quality. And so, like, nowadays sometimes the PA, the vocals aren't stressed enough, and so they get drowned out by the music, which is why you need the lyrics.
Right.
And then like old, especially being a lover of the blues back in like the 1930s when like Robert Johnson was recording, when we were talking about this earlier, the cracking and the popping of the recording needle overwhelms me, and I can't hear his voice. And so again, lyrics become so important for that. because
It's key
you
for
can't hear
enjoyment.
them, right?
Right.
So there's always jokes like Eddie Vedder is another one that you can't understand what he's
forget it.
saying.
I couldn't understand Eddie Vedder with
Right.
the lyrics in front of me.
Right, exactly. And not all artists actually enunciate, especially live performances,
Sure.
right? The live performance, like, that is not that word. Come on.
Right, exactly. You bring up live performances. That's
Yeah.
interesting. I don't know if you do this, but if I know I'm going to a concert, even if it's an artist that I love and I'm familiar with, I listen to every single song I can find. If there's every album repeatedly
Yep.
in the days leading up to the concert. So when a song starts, because the live version often sounds different than the recorded version, if I have enough of the music in my memory that I can recall, I can figure out what song is coming, and then I can enjoy it even more.
Yeah.
I can't go into any musical situation cold.
No.
I have to have a preview.
Oh, absolutely.
As much as I love bars and live bands, that can get frustrating too if they're doing original music I don't know, even some covers sometimes. But for concerts, for sure, there's a lot of prep work that goes into that before I go to a concert, which I don't think is something people really ever have to think about, because why would you? But for me, that's something that I really try and make a conscious effort to do.
No, same, because it feels, because we feel like we're missing out more than people, because we do understand that, like, we're not the only ones that has problems.
Sure.
It is the concept of acorns is a mishearing of the word acorn, and that's basically what all lyrics are. The most famous one, Mark was saying it earlier, is Jimi Hendrix, "Excuse me while I kiss this guy," but not, it's supposed to be "Excuse me while I kiss the sky." Right. So we understand that it's not just us, but like, we're just trying to give a little insight. It's a little bit more for us, and it's constant, right? Even with songs that we do know, if we haven't listened to it in a while,
Right.
then we were like, wait, what was that word? And so, like, we're constantly actively listening, and that includes with lyrics, and it puts more work and less enjoyment into it.
Right, something that you want to be able to just passively enjoy. For us, that you would use the word active listening. You're absolutely right. It's a little bit more of a chore for us to get to a place to be able to enjoy it, and it can be exhausting. And I think that's just another example of just how things are designed that we are kept out of sometimes, or we have to take the initiative to do a little bit more to get to something, to enjoy something that people with typical hearing can just kind of arrive at and enjoy. But there's another thing, another little bit of insight that you didn't know or weren't aware of how we kind of have to live, so for sure.
It's like a little book.
Oh.
So we aren't going to give book recommendations, and this is backwards, so you're going to have to tell it. So we're going to give music recommendations, but can we really go through an episode without talking about a book?
We can't, and this is Dame Evelyn Glennie, who is so special. She's a percussionist who is deaf, and finally a book has come out about her that she co-authored, actually, and it's her story, and it's called Listen, and it's how Evelyn Glennie, a deaf girl, changed percussion. So if you don't know anything about her, look her up on Wikipedia, look up some of her YouTube videos. She was part of the production of this book, and it's just a beautiful book about how she became a percussionist in her life. And this is an example of someone who, I believe she goes by the term deaf.
Okay.
Well, I use hearing impaired, you use hard of hearing, so I always want to use that,
Use their
appropriate
term,
person preferred language. She's a deaf role model in the community that a lot of people don't know about.
Yeah.
I don't think she's as well known as she probably should be, but I think it's important to point out that here's this incredible woman who happens to have a hearing loss, who is doing something so amazing as an artist of her craft. Really,
it's
quite incredible.
Yeah, it's not surprising as percussion, because there's more to sound than hearing. There's also, you feel it, and so speaking of books, there's another book, Deaf Utopia, Niall DeMarco. So he was the deaf winner of Dancing with the Stars. So I read his autobiography, and he has a brother who's a DJ, and they're both completely deaf. And that's just mind-boggling, right? Right? Yeah. So there's that you feel it. My brother loves to tell a story about like being like front row. I can't remember what concert. So Tom, please reply below. He had a trench coat, right? So he was standing next to the speaker, and the bass was so loud, his coat was flapping in the breeze.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So there's a physical component to hearing.
Sure.
So yeah. So that's I just wanted to mention that as you brought up that book, because it's not something that I really thought about until I read about it. Really.
Yeah.
So
really
it's
amazing.
interesting. So I wanted to pass it on.
Yeah.
So albums.
I had a really hard time. I really struggled with this one because,
Yeah.
I mean, Frank is number one, but it's okay to like other things.
Yeah, so,
And I am wearing my Abba t-shirt today, and anybody that knows me well knows my heart belongs with Abba. I got a special part of my heart that goes with Abba. I saw a tribute band The ABBA tribute band. Oh my God, It was one of the most fun nights of my life. I want to see them again. It was a blast. So I would have to recommend the ABBA Gold Greatest Hits album. It has all their hits on it, and it is my go-to music, no matter my mood. It's instant dance party. In the mornings, especially when I can't get going, I just throw on a little Waterloo, a Mamma Mia, or something, and I'm dancing down the hall getting ready to go. It just makes me happy.
Awesome.
And I keep threatening you with an ABBA dance party, and if you're never going to see it coming, it's happening. Because I know you're not a dancer, but for me, ABBA all the way. So ABBA Gold, Greatest Hits, it's just so fun. They're so fun. It's happy music. No, might not be the most mainstream intellectual choice, but you know what?
I'm not.
Sometimes you just got to go with it.
That's
so
right.
that's it for me. What about you?
So mine would be Stevie Vaughan's Live at Carnegie Hall, and so this is the album that got me into the blues. It's just a fantastic album. He was a fantastic guitarist, and another thing about hearing is I like loud guitars, and so his guitar solos are just phenomenal. And I was introduced to him I think like 2 or 3 years after he died, so I was very bummed. But yeah, so that's what got me into the blues. It's a fantastic live album. So pick that up if you're interested in it, or not. Just pick it up.
That's interesting that you can enjoy a live album, but the sound quality is such that you can hear it and enjoy it.
So it's the recording quality. I think it was the recording quality, because I didn't listen to for the lyrics, but like he put so much effort into the songs. It's like
Rocky's back.
Rocky's back.
Rocky, what was that? Tom Petty? That's your recommendation? Rocky said Tom Petty's greatest hits. There you go. I'm just going to go with that. Go ahead, continue.
So especially for like blues rock, it's it's all about the music. So I'm not listening for the lyrics.
Okay.
And so that's good. But like he has such a powerful voice.
He was amazing.
That like I had no problems hearing what he was saying. But yeah, so it's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yes, Rocky.
I know there are more. We could talk about this all night, and Rocky's getting a little restless and some playtime. So we are going to sign off.
Yes.
If that's all right with you. Anything
Sounds
else you
good
want
to
to
me.
add?
I don't think so.
That's it.
Good.
Let us know what your favorite album is and what you should be listening to and listening for. Never know. Might find something new. All right. Well, we'll see you next time.
All right. Thanks, guys.